Bill Clinton, in his inaugural address, in his acceptance speech, this is July 16th, 1992, New York City, the acceptance speech to the Democratic National Convention by Governor Bill Clinton of Arkansas. Let's just set the record straight, okay? I've heard this, at least 100 times coming out of the mouth of Joe Scarborough. He's even got Mika Brzezinski saying it, as I recall. You hear it constantly from, conventional wisdom. People say, oh, well, Bill Clinton in 92 campaigned as a centrist Democrat, a third-way Democrat, a middle-of-the-road Democrat. I mean, that's what America wants, isn't it, in a Democrat? Shouldn't our Democratic nominee be a middle-of-the-road, sort of a Republican light? Isn't that what America wants? No. Here are some excerpts from Bill Clinton's acceptance speech. Again, he didn't govern, and I'll explain why, didn't govern as a progressive, but he campaigned as one, and he won the election campaigning as one. He said, just as we have won the Cold War abroad, we are losing the battles for economic opportunity and social justice here at home. It's time to change America. I have news for the forces of greed and the defenders of the status quo. Your time has come and gone. It's time for a change in America. Forces of greed and the status quo, of course, the Reagan-Bush administration. He said, that's why I'm so committed to make sure every American gets the health care that saved my mother's life, and that women's health care gets the same attention as men's. For too long, those who play by the rules and keep the faith have gotten the shaft, and those who cut corners and cut deals have been rewarded. A president, Bill Clinton, I'm skipping through the speech, by the way, this isn't contiguous. A president ought to be a powerful force for progress. We've gone from being first in the world in wages since Ronald Reagan, we've gone from first to 13th in the world in wages since Ronald Reagan and George Herbert Walker Bush have been in office. And what is George Bush doing about our economic problems? 4 years ago, he promised 15 million new jobs by this time. He's over 14 million short. Al Gore and I can do better. He has raised taxes on the people driving pickup trucks and lowered taxes on the people riding in limousines. We can do better. He has doubled the national debt. This is Bill Clinton talking about George Herbert Walker Bush. He won't take on the big insurance companies and the bureaucracies that control health costs and give us affordable health care for all Americans, but I will, said Bill Clinton in his acceptance speech. He won't, he's speaking of George Bush, the first. He won't break the stranglehold the special interests have on our elections and the lobbyists have on our government, but I will. He won't give mothers and fathers the simple chance to take some time off from work when a baby is born or a parent is sick, but I will. He won't take the lead in protecting the environment and creating new jobs and environmental technologies for the 21st century, but I will. Starting to sound like Bernie Sanders? This is how Bill Clinton won an election in 1992. Jobs, quoting again from Bill Clinton, jobs, education, healthcare, those are not just commitments from my lips. They are the work of my life. Our priorities must be clear. We must put our people first again. The Republicans have campaigned against government for a generation. But have you noticed? They've run the big government for a generation and they haven't changed a thing. They don't want to fix government. They just want to campaign against it, and that's all. Trickle-down economics has sure failed, said Bill Clinton. You must do your part. You must be responsible. American companies must act like American companies again. And let me start at the very beginning of that paragraph, actually. He says, an America that says to entrepreneurs and business people, we will give you more incentives and more opportunity than ever before to develop the skills of your workers and to create American jobs and American wealth in the new global economy. But you must do your part. He's talking to business. You must be responsible. American companies must act like American companies again, exporting products, not jobs. This is the guy who, 5 years later signed NAFTA. But like I said, this is how he won the election. This is where the American people are at. This is not at all about Bill Clinton or where Bill Clinton was at. This is about where the American people are at. And the lies that are being told to us and have been told to us for 30 years aggressively, particularly in the mainstream and corporate media, that America is a center-right nation. It's a lie. America is by the standards of conventional wisdom, a left country. You could call it center-left if you want. He said in America, this is what the new covenant is all about. An America in which the doors of colleges are thrown open once again to the sons and daughters of stenographers and steelworkers. We will say, everybody can borrow money to go to college, but you must do your part. You must pay it back from your paychecks, or better yet, by going back home and serving your communities. Right? He was proposing free college in exchange for community service. Just think of it. Millions of energetic young men and women serving their country by policing the streets or teaching the children or caring for the sick or working with the elderly and people with disabilities. He said, an America in which health care is a right, not a privilege. In which the wealthiest few are asked to pay their fair share. An America at the forefront of the global effort to preserve and protect our common environment. We must reduce defense spending. It's also about our common community. We can restore our sense of unity and community. This is what Bill Clinton ran and won on. Ignore George Will and the nannery naynobs of, to paraphrase Spiro Agnew, of the mainstream media. America has always been a progressive country, at least at the level of the people. Periodically, our government gets seized by right-wingers and corporate forces, as it is now. But we are a progressive country.
You're listening to the Thom Hartmann Program. Call 202-536-2370.
The American voters want progressive ideals. It's why Hillary Clinton is talking progressive stuff. It's why Bernie Sanders is so insanely popular.